Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Heroes World Podcast Quarantine Edition. I am your host, Stu Pei. I am here, as always, with the owners and proprietors of the Heroes World store in Markham, Ontario. That would be both John and Andre. Please say hello to the people.
Howdy, folks.
Hello.
That was Robin, his loudest
oh
chair,
boy.
loudest squeaky
I did
chair.
it on purpose. I waited.
And our resident mischief maker himself, Mr. Rob.
Good morning, everybody. It's just after Christmas when we're recording this, so I hope you guys all had a good holiday.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. Today we are doing our review of Wonder Woman 1984. You can tell we're all working up the energy to talk about this movie in our various ways. Okay, so it's early in the morning, so we're gonna say that's the reason. So thank you for joining us. We are gonna be doing our review. This is gonna be a full spoiler review of the movie because it's out on video on demand. You can watch it if you're in the US or at Cineplex Odeon or Famous Players. You can download that bad boy and watch it. So before further ado, we're going full spoilers, full everything. So Rob, as our resident Wonder Woman 1984 stan, someone who has waited for this movie several times, who's been Charlie Browned 4 times, who said, hell or high water, we're watching this movie, we're doing a review, and I'm in it no matter what.
Yes.
And also said he will watch this in theaters.
As I give John first opportunity to talk about this movie. So
All
like many
right.
things, I'm going to Charlie Brown you again. So John, give us your thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984.
Okay, so Wonder Woman 1984. What can we say about this movie? From the first intro scene to the second intro scene.
Well, okay. Let me now I'm gonna Charlie Brown you again, John. Let's go to that again. So this movie, of course, was directed by Patty Jenkins. Of course, if you didn't know, screenplay was written by Patty Jenkins, Jeff Johns, and David Callahan. So that's the edit of that. The movie, of course, had a $20 million budget.
Wait, what?
$20 million budget.
No, that's impossible. Wonder Woman did not have a $20 million budget.
It did. Wonder Woman.
No.
$20 million budget.
This movie had $20 million.
Yes.
Indie movies are $20 million. There's no way this movie had a $20 million budget. You've got to be.
Do you mean 200 million?
Yes, 200 million. I'm just playing with Rob.
All right. I was like,
No, maybe this is a Superman quest for peace.
I was waiting for Rob to be like,
peace.
Yes,
Situation.
It is 200 million. I was just waiting for him to just really just fight for this movie. It's $200 million.
Okay.
It stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, and of course the Mando himself, Pedro Pascal. So this is full circle. So now that I've interrupted you, John, again,
was Pedro Pascal billed as a supporting actor in this, or was he a starring role?
He's 4th on the bill sheet. So if you look at the end credits, he's 4th.
Definitely felt like he got time of a starring role.
Yeah, he there. So John, now that I've laid the groundwork again for you as you were trying to fumble your way through how to even start this movie. Tell us your thoughts.
I feel like we should have started with an Andre summary, but I don't know. How do you summarize a movie?
You can summarize it.
Yeah. How do you summarize a movie about Wonder Woman with no Wonder Woman in it? Like I'm very puzzled. So from that first intro scene, where she learns the valuable lesson of not taking shortcuts in life and not cheating, that doesn't appear to come back up in the movie again. And then into the second intro.
To be fair, John, that was, and the Harry Potter example, the Quidditch game for no reason. We're learning about Quidditch.
It looked like Quidditch on horses.
Yep, we're learning about the fact that the Amazonian TV show is coming out. So this was just a backdoor pilot.
I was like, is this a backdoor pilot? Is this 10-minute, 15-minute sequence a backdoor pilot?
Yep. Yep.
Why is this movie so long? I don't get it. I don't understand. I need you guys to explain a couple things to me.
Okay.
Like I have questions.
Well, we should probably go through our thoughts.
Okay,
and then
John.
you can
Anything
answer
else
your
before I go
questions.
to anything else? Wild things you want to throw out before we go on to Rob?
I I don't know. I wanted to say Kristen Wiig was charming, but her character was pretty bad.
Pedro Pascal thoughts
Yeah. I don't know. Like
as Max Lord.
Um, I wish this movie was better.
Wow, John's got nothing.
I literally got like I don't know how to put together my thoughts. And
how about Gal Gadot? What do you think of her as Wonder Woman?
She wasn't in it. I can't give her a judgment. I feel like she phoned it in.
No,
she looked fire. Like her outfits. They based her outfits off Brooke Shields' look from the 80s, and it looked really good. Why did Steve Trevor have to take over a dude's body? What happened to the dude whose body he took over? And how come her wish was so convoluted compared to other people who just wished for Porsches and got them? They didn't get like a Mazda that looked like a Porsche to the person who was driving it, but looks like a Mazda. Like, you know, not to insult Mazdas, but I'm like I don't understand the wish process. Like, someone needs to explain the wish process. Maybe they needed an animated genie to help. My daughter came in, who's 8, started calling it like genie wishes, like an Aladdin reference, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think you get this. This is like a weird Aladdin.
Another fun fact is, how does Steve Trevor know about the monkey's paw? When would the monkey's paw thing come out? Was it back in the 1940s where the monkey's paw?
Isn't that like an old voodoo tale or whatever? Like it was just Stephen King made a movie of it or whatever.
How does she know about the monkey's paw? Like very, very easily. She's like,
he taught her. He taught her. Remember, there's that scene where he was telling, and she's like,
okay. We're gonna go to Rob now, and we'll come back to you, John, while you're gathering your thoughts.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, we can tell.
Classic John. I got nothing. Rob.
Okay, listen, we've talked about this. You guys are twigging me this morning on it. I've gone on record being pissed that we weren't going to be getting this movie in theaters and the 8 million release dates. The trailers for this movie made it seem like one of the best superhero movies we were going to get. I was super hyped for this thing. Not that we can go out shopping or do anything else on Boxing Day in Canada here on the 26th, but I made sure I booked that time with my family. Said, I know to my kids, I know you got new stuff to play with. We're watching Wonder Woman. I don't care. We're all going to sit down and we're going to watch it together.
Worst dad ever.
Yeah. And they were like, we're taking back our gifts.
Wait. Rob, do you hear that? Do you hear that? That's the phone calling. It's the Geneva Convention. You got crimes against humanity written against you right now. I'm going to have to take you away, put you in the gulag because you are a bad person, Rob.
I would willingly just surrender myself. I sat down and we were all hyped. I made sure we watched it starting at like 1:15. So that way, because my daughter is 9 and sometimes, she's not a big movie person, but she did kind of enjoy the first movie. And so the opening scene with the Amazons, which was Quidditch on horses, I don't understand. I thought it looked really bad, to be very honest with you. I thought that the wire work was just way too obvious. I thought it was, you're just shoehorning in characters from the first movie to again pay it forward for this TV pilot that will likely probably not go forward. I don't think, based on this. I thought the scene at the mall was interesting in that it felt very Superman 1/Superman 3. Like I was like, oh, they're going for a bit of a sillier tone in this. I like the 1980s aesthetic. And my daughter really enjoyed when the little girl was like watching and was in awe of Wonder Woman, and she pushed her and my daughter turned because she was lying on my shoulder. And she turned up. She goes, oh my God. Like she really liked that. And then
Wonder Woman booted her in the chest across the mall.
Yeah. So she's suffered some broken ribs, but and then I was like, they're really toning it down for kids. And I thought maybe because the first movie was really hard for younger girls to get into because it's set in World War I and war and evil. And so I thought, I get it, because a lot of girls were looking up to Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman and wanting to see themselves in that role. And so I was really on board with them making it more palatable for younger girls. As a dad of a young girl myself, I was like, okay, I'm cool for this. And then that's not what happened. And I looked over and my dog had fallen asleep. And then my daughter had fallen asleep. And then I looked and my wife had fallen asleep. And then I kind of took a look at the movie and we were only like 45 minutes in. And it felt like I had been there for 3 hours. And I looked over my son, who always watches movies, and saw he was playing with a Rubik's Cube. So now I'm realizing it's just me.
Is it Rubik's Cube from the 80s?
Yes.
That's freaking fitting as hell.
And it's me watching this. And my wife wakes up at one point and she goes, is this the same movie? I'm like, yeah. This is really bad. Like, I said to you guys off screen, like, I said to my son, hey, we have this thing for 2 days. We're going to watch the shit out of this movie. I didn't swear to him, but we're going to watch it a few times. We're going to enjoy it. I still have like 36 hours on my rental period, and I don't want it.
Who wants it?
I don't understand. I don't understand the Maxwell Lord character. Like, I really thought, to be very honest with you, if you actually take the idea and the devices of this movie, the wishing, this seems like a plot that is more suited for a Shazam movie and a Shazam character than it would be for Wonder Woman. And I don't understand where they misfired. I thought Cheetah could be, she's a formidable opponent in the books and the cartoons. Why do we need this Maxwell Lord thing? Why the wishes is stupid. I didn't like it. The best part about this movie is Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. I'm glad he came back, but I felt like they only did it because people loved him so much in their chemistry in the first movie. So that's
no reason to do anything.
There's no reason. You're right. So you know what?
He did do stuff.
Everybody.
Incorrect.
I'm sorry that.
Oh, he played the fish out of water.
He played fish out of
Wonder
water.
Woman played in the first one.
and honestly, like him, Gal Gadot and Steve Trevor walking around doing their best, like Miami Vice, like just being a duel, was the best part of that movie. Like them, like Crockett and Tubbs, and just be like, let's break into this and let's move around here and let's rent a car together. Like that was truly the funnest part of the movie. Everything else was garbage. I would just watch a movie where it was Steve Trevor and a 25% power Gal Gadot solving mysteries. That's it. That's all I want, because everything else.
I'll just watch a Scooby-Doo episode. It'd be much more enjoyable. I think at the end of the day, I want to apologize to everybody who watches and listens to the show, because I was really hyping this movie up, and I feel
hype.
If my excitement contributed in any way to your parting of $30, I'm so sorry. I really wanted
the trailer's
to
fault. The trailer really sold it. The trailer really sold this. Like that trailer that Andre really liked with that song, that remix of that song.
Monday, yeah.
Man, you're better off watching that trailer over and over again,
Rob,
and pretending in your mind that this movie is good as that trailer.
Everyone here in this panel, except for myself, was really hyped on Wonder Woman. So it happened. I was indifferent. I'm like, it's Wonder Woman. She's a god. It doesn't matter. And here we go. So I'm gonna let you. We're going to go back to you in a moment, but let's get to Andre. Let's see what the firecracker himself has to say about this movie. Andre, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with everybody else. Like this movie was a natural disaster. Like it was pointless. It was bad. It was soulless. It didn't make any sense. Like I was trying to watch it and I was thinking, okay, maybe it isn't for me. But then I was trying to think of who is it for? And I'm like, a young girl isn't going to understand this plot, because I didn't understand this plot. You have Wonder Woman, and then you do not have a clear adversary that is going to challenge her. What's the threat level of Maxwell Lord? What's the threat level of Cheetah? The whole wish thing, like John mentioned, why did her wish screw over somebody's life? And then she has to lose something, so she loses her powers. What did Barbara lose? She just became more confident and stuff. But she didn't. Let's go back. When everybody started talking to her, she's like, oh, they're like, hey, Barbara, hi, how are you? All she did was become the center of attention and funny. And the only person she was mean to was the guy that basically tried to assault her. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't until the end of the movie where she somehow got a second wish to become an apex predator, even though you're supposed to only get one wish. And that's when she turns into Cheetah.
It's to be fair, Andre, the first wish was from the OG Dreamstone, and the second wish was through the Mandalorian Dreamstone. So technically, it's a different...
okay, yeah, but whatever.
It's a wish upon a wish. Because
Yeah.
the way that the logic of this movie works is that when you make a wish through the Mandalorian Dreamstone, he tacks on a second wish onto yours to manipulate it the way he wants it. So technically, it's kind of like that's truly a monkey's paw. It's like a triple inception. You get your wish, he gets his wish on top of it, and then there's a third wish that happens on top of it as well. So it's a triple wish.
Yeah. I
So,
don't
yeah, it
know.
was bad.
Like I'm really disappointed in all the people involved in this movie. Listen, I enjoyed the first Wonder Woman up until like everybody, yes, the third act falls apart, but it doesn't ruin the movie. It, and usually you think that a second movie will get better. This did not. This was horrible. So I don't know if it's Patty Jenkins' fault. I don't know if it's Jeff Johns who wrote. I don't know if it's the Snyder's influence because they're still producers on it. But they
No.
should all be ashamed of watching the final cut of this movie. And that's what they put
And
out.
sitting on it for a year and not
Yeah,
trying to fix it.
And the, like John said, that trailer, that second trailer with Blue Monday, and it hit all the beats. You're like, oh my God, she's gonna be bouncing it. And then she took like a half an hour to beat 4 thugs in the mall. And then the magic lasso could do everything. Like
Yeah.
it grabbed a bullet. Like I don't get it. Like, it was just this movie was just, you can get lost in a movie and you'll forgive it. But then this just did some stupid shit. Like she walks somewhere, flashes her badge, and it looks like it's some military base, and then she's like, pick a plane. And then he just gets into this jet and flies this jet. Oh, hold up a second. It's 1984. What jet's getting from Washington to Cairo and back? Shut the fuck up. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not suspending my disbelief past this. Like how stupid are they taking the audience? Like they just kept like, I guess that was it. They just
How about part
didn't,
B, Andre?
they didn't care about anything in this
How
movie.
about part B to that?
Part
Who
B?
keeps a plane gassed
fact
up
that
in a
you can-
museum?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But,
Like, just
and part C, Andre. How about the fact you can touch a plane and make it invisible?
exactly. And didn't she say, "Oh, my dad did this"? And then what the hell are you talking about? Like it's just awful. Like awful on so many levels. It's
Zeus, god of
insulting.
invisibility.
Yeah, it's like straight up. And then let's talk about the end sequence. She uses her whip, can't penetrate the barrier that he's in, but somehow it snakes and ties around his leg.
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
What
to me.
the hell? Again,
What did
they
it
should be
do? Did it
shamed.
did it allow her to influence the people that he was touching? Is that exactly
Yeah.
what happened? Like I was like,
Yeah.
what
Because the lasso, don't forget,
what
the
exactly is the
lasso-
lasso power?
Is true because don't forget, it didn't compel you to speak the truth. That the lasso's power was truth. She said that near the beginning, right?
Yep.
So that's what the actual power of that lasso was.
Mhm.
Is that it was forged in the power of truth. The power of truth of this movie is like honestly,
It went.
we all wasted money.
Remember,
Yeah.
it just went full Doctor Strange because it was like the
It was
magic
Stranger,
of the
right?
gods imbued in my lasso, like imbued in the Dreamstone of this god. So like the whatever
But-
the Lord of like what they didn't even say the Greek god that's associated. They just said what
No,
was it?
a god.
A god. It's
No,
like
they did. I didn't. Oh, anyways, I'm glad you brought that up because, again, she's anthropologist, archaeologist. How about they tell an actual story and you show that end sequence at the beginning where Pedro Pascal's character is failing at everything, but he runs into this book and then he's on this quest to find this item. And you have, they reference it. Instead, they go to a yoga dude who happens to be Mayan. Where the hell did that
Yeah.
come from? And he happens to have a book.
And then the guy
like-
just disappears after he's gone.
Disappears.
Yeah.
Like why? Like
What about
here's
that
the-
guy?
here's the thing. How about you take her and have her take that little piece of the rock and go back to her home and say, "Hey, does anybody recognize this?" And somebody said, "Oh my
I
God."
know she's allowed to go
that's-
back to the mascara, right?
No, she's not.
She's not allowed to go back.
Because she
Well,
left.
this would have been a reason for her to go back and make sense of this movie because I don't care if she's allowed to do something or not. This movie was just like it again, shameful, like off, like put this in standard. I would watch Batman versus Superman again before I watch this thing a second time. Easy.
Okay.
I'd watch Justice League. Like this is
Yeah, no, because
Man.
at least to your point, Andre, at least there's some cool action sequences where Batman and the Trinity are fighting. You're like, oh, this is cool. The action sequences in this movie were just so lacking. I'm like, what is your point about taking a long time to beat those thugs up in a mall was interesting. The fact that she just basically spent a lot of time just deflecting bullets. It's like Wonder Woman. It was a lot of sense where
She couldn't take out humans. She couldn't
didn't
take
wanna
out
fight.
humans with
And
guns.
this is a problem. It's one of those things where we know that in the comics, sometimes they portray Wonder Woman as a person who doesn't really want to fight and combat in combat. And this definitely was that, where she's like, I really
But
don't
no,
want to fight anyone.
she doesn't. No, it's not that she doesn't want to fight. She doesn't revel in the violence.
Yes.
They should have showed her that she could take down these guys even at 25% strength, because she is an Amazon first. She's trained from, like, look how small she was. So this is reflex. This is muscle memory. It doesn't matter if she's still got her superpowers. And that, like, that fight at the end with Cheetah, that should have been out of her mouth. She should have said, look, you just became this, and I know you're powerful, but I have been trained from birth. Do not make me fight you. And she should have put her down in 2 seconds. How did she get electrocuted? Cheetah got electrocuted, but Wonder Woman didn't.
She's
because
is the suit electric
She's
proof?
half god of Zeus.
She's
yeah.
the daughter of Zeus.
If
So-
she's riding the lightning, she's not going to be electrocuted in a bathtub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can lasso onto lightning, then she can shoot.
But
it doesn't matter.
all it did was knock her out too, and she's like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Oh wow, she's gonna kill Cheetah."
Yeah,
she just knocks her out and then puts her back on the. I'm like,
let me
"Why are you
go on
apologizing for it?
because-
Knock her out and keep going."
Let me go on to more questions. One question unanswered for you folks, and maybe you know the answer. So Cheetah, good point that you did. That's a nice segue. Thank you, John. She did not relinquish her wish, did she not? At the end, she never said, "I relinquish it." So she's still powerful. And what happened to her at the end of the movie? She's stuck. She's left on that island on her own devices because she's seen again.
Well,
It's
because
like she wakes up and she's like, "Oh, the sunset," and then that's it. Like we never.
Yeah,
see
and
her
she's
again.
gone back to human form because all the anger and everything else that imbued her to turn into a cheetah. Everybody relinquished.
Yeah, but she
their
still would
wishes
have
across
Wonder
the
Woman
world.
powers.
Yes, but to look like an actual cheetah, that's no longer.
But let's roll that back. If Maxwell
second
Lord,
wish
if
overwrites
Maxwell
the
Lord
first.
relinquishes his wish, then he is no longer the wishing stone vessel, and that stone's destroyed. So nobody has power.
Because she asked for her to be more like Diana before he became the stone.
There was 3 original wishes.
Okay, so that guy gets a coffee and then whatever, like those wishes. Anyways, whatever. It's horrible. Can't even try and think it through.
To Rob's point, the original Dreamstone, there was 3 wishes made with that. There was the Diana wishes Steve came back. There was the I want to be like Diana, and Pedro Pascal wishes to be the Dreamstone. So that's the original tree. All those wishes are still in effect.
That guy who wishes for more wishes
on one side, and then Pedro Pascal, when he comes to Dreamstone, all the wishes of the world cascade on his to be the Dreamstone. So when he relinquishes his dream, everything associated with that one basically disappear, including all the other wishes that didn't make sense anyways. When people were like, I wish for this stuff, everything on that side would just disappear on its own. So
But
she
the
still
funny-
has her wishes.
The funny one that made me laugh when I thought about it, and they kind of cut back, was when the husband and wife, I guess, were arguing. I think it was in Ireland.
I don't think it was husband and wife. I think it was just like 2 people were just.
Well, and then he's like, "Yeah, I wish you were dead." And then, but she wished something, and he's like, "I wish you were dead." Well, the person's trying to resuscitate the dead person, the girl, the woman, and that meant that the dead person's wish couldn't be rescinded, so he was still screwed over.
No, but Pedro Pascal's wishes would be all gone. So yeah. So question number two, the Dreamstone. So then the Dreamstone back together now, because if he unwished it, the Dreamstone now restart in somewhere, like go back to normal, because if
Oh God, I hope
the
not.
office, like so the Dreamstone's back like an Infinity Stone. It's back to form in the office, right? Like it's just sitting there. So if Kristen Wiig went back to it, she could wish on the stone again to like be Cheetah.
I don't know.
Like
I don't know where it went. I don't know. Maybe Dr. Savannah has it in the in Shazam 2. Who knows? I have no idea. Just I wanted to clarify one of Andre's points. Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder are listed as producers, but they actually had no. That's a contractual thing, much like Christopher Nolan was the producer on Man of Steel. It's by title only because he helped create that world. Jeff Johns. I mean, I don't know if Stu, you're going to get into it later, but I'll be very honest with you. The first thing I sent to you guys is Jeff Johns has got to. I mean, I'm done. I am done with Jeff Johns. I mean, look behind me. I've got the Green Lantern omnibus. Like, I think this guy has peaked. This was made. We all know, people who are watching this, listening to this now, you know that Jeff Johns is not part of DC proper anymore or Warner Brothers. But we have to remember, this movie was filmed like 3 years ago.
Yep.
So he was still he was tight with all of that was happening. I think that Patty Jenkins has a lot to explain for this movie, but I think that this rests on Jeff Johns' shoulders. He came up with a story. He helped write this. He wrote the screenplay with some help with Patty Jenkins. This is on Jeff Johns. You can tell it's a Jeff Johns thing. I'm done with Jeff Johns being any part of anything to do with DC Universe anymore. I'm fed up. I don't like it. I'm done.
No, sir, I don't like it.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm gonna give Jeff Johns the benefit of the doubt because his breadth of work is good.
Wait.
Hold on. Let me finish. Like, there's definitely something to be said that there's a couple other hands in the cookie jar. Rob, there's no way we can name a single Jeff Johns comic book story that is as bad as this movie. Like his Green Lantern run, his Superman run, his Justice League run. Like, there's never been anything this bad. So I don't think he all of a sudden got bad. I think there's other hands that don't understand comics or the stories or things kept getting changed. I'm not saying I'm giving him a blank slate, but this doesn't make sense. Like you could take his Green Lantern rebirth story or his Flash rebirth story or his Flash run, and they would translate really well into a television or movie. Like, I just don't understand where
Wait.
I don't think the disconnect is on him.
But then maybe he shouldn't be involved in the actual writing of these movies, because he was involved with the reshoots of Justice League that Joss Whedon oversaw. He helped rewrite that script. He's on this. He did stuff with Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern.
Let's go.
So maybe he shouldn't be the screenwriter.
He is. And Andre mentioned it. Yes, he was involved, but maybe we don't know, because we'll give him a pass for Green Lantern because he was a producer on that movie. We'll give him a pass for Justice League because he was a producer. We'll give him a pass on Batman v Superman. We'll give him a pass on Suicide Squad. We'll give him a pass on Wonder Woman. We'll give him a pass
5 strikes and you're out. That's how sports
works.
works.
We'll give him a pass on Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey. He was on everything. So I love Jeff Johns, so I'm gonna give him a pass on everything as well. But I think Rob's right. Like, fool me 6 times, shame on you. Fool me 8 times, shame on me.
But here's the thing.
Like,
we've never...
and maybe Andre, he hasn't screwed you over as a retailer yet, but I will wait till he starts screwing you over as a retailer, and then we'll see what you say.
Like, we still haven't seen something that's all him. Like, you remember when David Goyer was doing all of the superhero stuff? And we're like, who is this guy? Why are these movies so crappily written? And he was writing all of them or getting second billing, writing and producing stuff. But the thing is,
Andre,
I still
everything
think...
by him is Titans. Titans is everything by him. So you give that a pass?
Which the writing and stuff,
the TV show. He's executive producer, he's writer, he's producer of Titans. So do you give him a pass for that one? Because that's him.
I didn't enjoy Titans, but I know a lot of people did, right? So, but listen, I don't know. Like, if he has fallen that far, like if that's true, then that's pretty sad, because he has written some of, if not the best reimaginations and bringing up of the DC characters, and I don't think that has been shown in the movies. And also, like, I think something has to be said that, maybe I don't know, and I'm just speaking, my mind, but clearly the people like involved, like Patty Jenkins writing it, like, I don't know if they really have this comic book love background. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if they have it to understand to understand not only the characters, but how they click, like they're super.
But then you have Jeff Johns with her.
Jeff Johns,
right?
To balance her out.
But that's, listen. But what I'm saying is, maybe they're not listening to him. Maybe he's just the comic book guy. Let's not listen to him. Like, comic book guys are so low on the rung. I think they don't get the respect that they need unless it's their project. Unless it's a Hellboy. Unless it's a Sin City where Frank Miller's right.
Because if we look at the other side, Andre, you look at the comparable nature of. Let's look at The Mandalorian, for example. You look at Dave. He's very much involved, the executive producer, and you work with Jon Favreau. You can see it's a true partnership. The two of them work together on all the featurettes. He refers to him as a partner, Jon Favreau, and mentions Dave Filoni, like everything, and they work together in tandem, and you can see it in the product of that show. And when you look at Jeff Johns and everything, he executive produced Titans, Stargirl, and also Doom Patrol. And those products are way different than the movies, but he's still associated. He's executive producer on every DC live action thing possible. And everything's been a wash so far.
Right. But I guess maybe what I'm trying to say is maybe it is different because on the comic book, he is the sole writer, sole creative head. Maybe he works with the artist, and the artist will say, hey, can we draw Brainiac this way? And he's like, yeah, sure, that works. And that's what I'm saying. But so maybe when you broaden it and then there's other people involved, then that influence
I just
either
think,
way, look,
I think
if he's done, he's done. But I'm just saying it's sad because he had and he still has like such a good catalog of stuff, and the stuff when he wrote the characters like his Flash, his Green Lantern, his Justice League.
Writing for comic books and writing for movies, like screenplays, are two different things.
I understand that,
but I think that you need it. Yes, I agree that he can flesh out his characters in a book, but you have a lot more road to do that in a comic in number of issues than you do in a 2.5 hour movie. And so maybe he doesn't have the ability, like he's either truncating too much, he's putting too much emphasis on one to make it like, I just don't think, listen, I agree.
Well,
he's a talented writer, but maybe he's
just
not
him production.
We haven't seen too many times where he's involved in all the like again, like everything that I mentioned before, he's involved in, and whether they listen to him or not, he's there. Like he had the clout of DC because he was the Wonder Boy to push himself into movies. So Green Lantern was him. Wonder Woman is him, and we love Wonder Woman. So we're like, well, you know what? Hey, he was involved in Wonder Woman 1. They finally fixed it, and then he went full Tim Burton in Wonder Woman 2, and it's a mess. So like, I love him, but I think we talked about this before. There is a difference between the mediums of comic books, TV shows, live action, and movies, and this just shows that just because you're successful in one realm doesn't mean you should do the other one. So it is what it is. I think I don't know if he can recover from this because it's his stench is all over everything. So maybe he just continues to do TV, and that's the right way. Maybe the medium of him fleshing out a long story arc in Green Lantern is for the TV show. Maybe it fits perfectly for that genre. But giving him a $200 million movie is now doesn't look like it's a good track record because he's got more misses than successes. Even though, Suicide Squad made money and Wonder Woman made money, but Wonder Woman 84 and Green Lantern were just so negative.
If this was released in theaters, this would be one of those ones where it makes serious bank on that opening weekend, and then you would see it would drop 60 to maybe even 75% to the next weekend. This is a 2020s version of Green Lantern. Yeah. Right. And like, so maybe, everybody was all upset about it, being put on HBO Max and, it should be in theaters, this and that. Maybe this is the best vessel for this movie.
All I can say as we talked about it is that now I'm concerned about this Rogue Squadron movie now. Now that I'm like Patty Jenkins, I'm like, oh no, like hopefully again.
John sleeping.
Dave Filoni, who is the Jeff Johns person, who clearly is now at the point where I believe in him 100% rather than Jeff Johns in a live action, because he's done it on, the cartoon and now in a live action. That I think that hopefully if he's still involved in giving her notes, it's like, well, we saw what you did there, but here at Star Wars and / Marvel, we have a pecking order and you have to go through some checks that maybe it'll be better. Fingers are crossed, because this is going to be rough. Or it could be like what happened with all the other Star Wars. We're going to give these movies and then just slowly never mind. We're just not going to do it anymore. So fingers are crossed. Okay. So here we go. John, as an expert on bad movies and in a bad movie tournament, where does this movie rank in the DC canon of live action movies? Where does this fall, John? And the best or the worst? Like, where does it go with all the new DC EU stuff?
I don't know, like with the new stuff, I'll compare it to another movie that came out this year, which was the Birds of Prey, The Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, and I will say that that's a better movie. And it saddens me to say that. Like I did not see that coming in 2020, but I would definitely rewatch that over
How
watching
does
this.
it rank next to New Mutants?
New Mutants, I want to say it's better than New Mutants.
Really? You think so?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I'm like, at least New Mutants, the FX looked crazy. They really like.
And also, it was
like
only
the-
90 minutes.
Yeah, it was only 90 minutes. Like this, why is this 2 hours and a half? And what, like, the action was really like, I feel like it was very lackluster.
Yeah. So
like
is
a lot
this
of
the
like.
worst DC movie, John?
Ever?
New.
It's the worst. I don't like. That's what I was saying. I was gonna say, hey, you know that Street Fighter thing where it's like you have a new challenger has joined, and we're doing the worst comic movie brackets. I'm like, I feel like this is the new challenger. But I feel like maybe it's got to sit for a second. Maybe we got to think about it a little
gotta
more.
sit,
But
but
I
yeah,
don't- for like, but Quest for Peace is pretty bad. Catwoman is pretty bad. Like, I don't think this is. I want to say it's not quite on the level, but it's close. I
Okay.
feel like it's close. Like, I don't know what's salvageable. Like, is there a director's cut that can chop like 40 minutes from
No,
this?
the director
and
cut, all they
save
do
it?
is add more to it. It would be more. It would not. Director cuts usually aren't. We're gonna take away. It's gonna like, oh, we had a movie.
Yeah.
Much more. We're gonna add to it. Just like the Snyder cut, which can be 4 hours long, which has been confirmed. So we have that in
Yeah,
the
like
future.
would I watch Suicide Squad before rewatching this? I don't know. Maybe I would choose this.
I would.
Maybe I would choose. I haven't seen Suicide Squad in some time, and
No,
I've only
Suicide
watched
Squad.
this. I've only watched this once, so maybe if I start it up again, maybe I'm like, okay, you know, maybe there is probably factoring in an expectation level. We waited a whole year. I think the original release date was December 19th, 2019, or something like that. So it's literally been a year
I think it
of
was
waiting
it
for
was
this
supposed
to
be
come up.
July, 4th of July. They were.
I read somewhere there was December, and then it got pushed back to November, and then it got pushed into the summer to capitalize on what the first movie did. But maybe there's a factor of the expectation. So I don't want to be too quick to throw it under the bus.
Okay.
Like right under here.
All right, Rob.
Yeah.
Where does this fall in the pantheon of DC classic movies?
It's funny. I had messaged John and whatnot, and I said, "Can we shoehorn this into the Sidekicks worst of movies? Like, we are wrapping this thing up, or by the time people watch this, we have wrapped it up. So you can go and check that out." Are you talking about all DC movies, like the history of DC movies? Listen, I don't think it's as bad as Jonah Hex. I don't think it's as bad as Halle Berry's Catwoman. I think that you are probably this is on par with Superman 4: Quest for Peace. I'm just really disappointed.
But with a $200 million budget.
I know. I'm just
2
really
hours and 40 minutes in length.
I'm just disappointed.
No. Andre, thoughts?
I think like the Superman movie, when you have an expectation built upon the previous one and the previous work, you have to judge it by what came before. Like, to me, that's why the third Batman movie in the Nolan trilogy is so god awful, because the first two were great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think this one, while we had expectations of it being good and it was marketed good and the trailer was good, I am going to say this is probably, it's going to be up there with that Catwoman and that Green Lantern and stuff like that, because, you know, there is, you know, sorry, I'm going to say it's worse than those ones because we had an expectation. They had already delivered once. Like I said, this should be a point of shame for everybody involved. You know, I saw a quote, maybe it was a tweet, that Gail Simone was like, "Oh, this shows all the sides of Wonder Woman, and it made me cry or whatever." And I'm like, no, don't kiss ass to these people that make things like I said the same thing when with the Mandalorian, everybody's posting up they were crying at the last episode. I'm like, get real, like, come on, it's not that good.
Well,
you know what
That's
I mean?
different. That's different.
No,
That's different.
no,
That's
but here,
different.
listen, when you see guys like, you know, Kevin Smith was posting, "Oh my God, you know, Jon Favreau's a genius." No, man, you can't use those words like genius like that.
Well,
that's
that's
different.
subjective.
Okay,
That's
okay,
subjective.
I'm gonna cut you out, John. That's different. That's different.
Andre,
Andre, that's
poor
different.
John.
what I'm
So
saying is
let's
people
go.
shouldn't
Okay.
be praising stuff just because it,
I
Well,
think
but hang on, Andre. I think though
there's different. It's universal praise on the Mandalorian in that scene compared to this. So
correct, but I
very
think
different.
it's still overstated when people are saying that this is like, I'm not in Gail Simone's head, obviously, but like she's like, oh, it made me cry 3 times. Like that implies that this movie got parts of it right.
But
You know what
Andre,
I
you
mean?
know the context of what she said, it made her cry. Maybe she was like,
It's so bad.
And again, I think
Yeah.
But remember, let's be very frank. We are 4 men, and we're not talking about an experience
Right.
as a woman. So again, the caveat is this is their personal experience, and this is what they're feeling at the moment. I'm not saying that she's incorrect, because if she cried because of it, it's fine. Like I teared up watching Soul. Like that was a movie where I'm like, oh man, like I get all the feels. But that's my perspective. Not everyone feels that way, like watching a movie. Like there are movies that like you tear up watching, and that's who you are. And I'm not gonna make fun of you or tell you you're wrong because of it. So that's let's just leave it as that. So
and maybe she was very. Listen, I think the scenes with Chris Pine as Steve Trevor are by far the best. Andre, you said everybody, is responsible. I think if you're putting one person is not, and that's Chris Pine, man. This guy showed up. He was so charming, charismatic.
Rob, we do this podcast every single time review, and you're jumping into good stuff. Let me
all right.
Well, apparently you're new. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't been here before, guys. How else do you run this show?
It's not like
What's the
Rob has
question
done
again?
this every single time. So let's go to this. Talk to me about the worst, cringiest moment in this movie. John, you're first. You have examples for us? Please go. A diagram, a perspective. What's the worst thing in this movie?
There was an action sequence where she goes and fights the convoy, and one of the things like ejects her into the air. And I'm like, why didn't you I figured it out. I figured out why it did it. So I got some visual aids. This is why I have this bus on hand here, right? So she's under the bus.
Oh, that's why.
And she grabs, that's exactly why. She grabs the drive shaft, right? And pulls it off, right?
Yep.
So this is the drive shaft, almost like a bus's penis. And I guess it gets caught in something in the road, and it pole vaults this thing.
Yep.
She's under it. And then I guess she like shimmies back and then gets popped into the air.
Yep.
For no reason. I'm like, how come they didn't have that? Like, how come I had to put that together looking up physics after the movie? And I'm like all the action felt like that. You know what I mean? Like it was like not well put together. There's a scene where she's fighting with Cheetah and Chris Pine and then the Mandalorian are rustling in the background, and they're rustling in the background for a good 10 minutes. You just see 2 guys way in the background, and there's a third guy who just gets kicked off a railing and I guess dies a horrible death. But they're just rustling in the background, and you're like, what is this? Is this a Mortal Kombat level where there's like random dudes in the back just fighting? And I'm like, these are 2 of your lead actors too as well. Like just I don't know. It's just something about that. Like they couldn't even deliver on the action.
Okay.
Like, is
I asked
disappointing.
you for one,
It's
John,
hard to
but I
pinpoint.
appreciate you telling me the action is bad.
I've got a list of
because it's
more.
true. It is bad. It is bad. To Andre's point before, you have one of the most best trained Amazonians on the planet, and she doesn't know how to fight. This is the same similar situation.
Her running
as
just
that.
looked like this. Like
Yeah,
That was
Steve
bad.
Trevor's a spy. It was in the military. He doesn't remember how to fight, like at all. Like, wait a second, didn't you train in the army? Didn't you like know how to?
Yeah, but they
fight at
kind of
all?
explain that off in that fighting styles have obviously evolved from 19.
he learns the move, which you
Yeah.
you don't really see it like it's like a kind of like a very basic kind of like grab your arm and twist it here.
Yeah.
And you're like, that was your fantastic. Let's in those action movies where they're like they teach the victim how to like, oh, you step back and you go boom like this, and then at the very end of the movie they're like, okay, you're taken hostage, and it's like, okay, do the move, like at the end of Jack Reacher 2 and like every other like 80s movie. Like it was like that sequence, like and it's a shame, like in Civil War and Black Panther, like to make him run faster they put a conveyor belt down and they slowed the cars down. Like I feel like for Wonder Woman they didn't even try. They just said, hey, Gal Gadot, run on this green screen, and we're just gonna like cut and paste it in and just send you through.
Well,
these
they did
vehicles.
that too in the Hulk, which everyone hated, but I loved when they were running. They had real people running at full speed, and then they put, the Abomination. They put Eli like on a grid, and he ran faster than everyone else on this grid, like on
At
this
least
rope.
that looked
It looked
kind of
really
cool.
cool.
When
I
he,
was like, wow,
when
the
he
Hulk.
jumped around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where did this 2 million go? I think Gal Gadot only got like 10 million of it or something like that, which I do find kind of saddening that she gets like paid so little, I guess. But I guess
She got a bonus.
I don't
so
know.
she got money.
Yeah,
Nonetheless.
she
Okay.
like for Wonder Woman, I
Rob,
heard she only got paid 300,000. Like that's sad.
No,
Like,
we don't know. All right, Rob, go for it. What's the cringiest part of this?
How do you? Oh my God, where to begin? I don't know. There's a lot.
Is it her
If
flying?
you're looking for one specific scene,
Yep.
then I'm going to say when Maxwell Lord gets to the White House and has the conversation with a really bad. Is he supposed to look like Ronald Reagan? I don't even know.
No, just the president.
But they didn't. They made him look kind of like Ronald Reagan. So I was just like, wait, what? And they got that whole scene, and he's got the blood coming out of his nose, and his face is all going green, and his eyes look like he's got bad pink eye. And I was like, I don't know what. Why is he? And he's grabbing the president, and he's like, make a wish, and I was like, what is happening? Like, well, I don't like. It was horrible. That's like I was just like, this is a waste. This is a waste. It's a waste. Why did he have a son? It is a waste of a character. Who cares? You want to know what else is a waste? The special effects when Diana gets shot. It was like bad TV show. They just put a piece of paint on her, like with a paintbrush. It didn't look like she got shot with it's a waste.
It grazed her. She's bulletproof.
Yeah, but you have blood, but no laceration. Like that's what I'm saying. Like what are you talking about? Why does Maxwell Lord have a son? It made zero sense. Who cares?
Where is the mother?
Andre?
And does everyone remember this weird day that almost everybody died?
All right, John. Let's keep on going. Andre, worst part of this movie, cringiest.
Oh man, the cringiest
Pick one,
part.
because
just the one.
There's no wrong answer. It's all cringe.
You know what? I will say since I agree with those ones, so I would have picked either one of those, like the presidency, most scenes with Max Lord. But the cringiest thing for me, like, was why is it in here? Was the flying scene? I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like,
she fireworks.
She flips the lasso up, and I don't know what she pulled on. Then she hits the plane. And then she's up in the air, and then I can fly because she hears Chris Vines, and then she's like, oh, I need to go faster, so let me whip again, and then she starts doing the Superman flying, and I'm like, hold on a second, like what? Yeah. What is like why? Again, they had a cool moment. They could have. Why didn't they rewind that moment? And when she put that armor on, she could have flown with that. It's got giant wings. I would have rather it flapped and flew. And then once the armor got ripped off, she just decided to like, fuck it, I can fly again. It was just, man, like, just wow. Yeah,
the armor was a placebo effect.
Yeah, let me go through and to tell you the one thing in the movie that I thought was very disheartening was, and I talked to the guys off the record, but the Diana talking to us as a people, like straight onto the camera to say, hey, the 1%ers are rich, we're famous, we're genetically born different. All you peons, all you peasants, Andre, John, Stuart, Rob, be happy what you got. Don't try to be better. Don't try to get your dreams because there's a cost to it. Just be happy with the sloth you're in. The whatever you got, whether it be don't work harder to be anything else. Just be who you are and be happy with what you got. I just sat there going, that's the message, to be happy what you have. Don't try to be better. Don't try to work better. Like, again, Kristen Wiig's character was right. She's like, hey, man, you have everything. Why can't I try to be better and be something else? And that was the movie. It's like 100%. We all like, yeah, Kristen Wiig, be something else. Be better. Aim for something higher than what you are. But no, the movie's telling us that's incorrect. Be the low-level peasant that you are and just be happy what you got. Whatever
Wonder
you
Woman
got
was kind of a dick.
Be happy you're alive. Just because there's a monkey's paw to do. If you work hard and be famous, then you lose your soul. And your soul is basically that you're a happy, caring about person. That's it. The whole thing was like, you just lose being friendly. You lose being a nice person. That's it. You lose yourself by being famous or being awesome or being Wonder Woman, because Kristen Wiig's character went from I'm gonna give food to the homeless person to mind your own business.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm gonna kick the
really?
shit out of you.
That's the turn.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And there was no payoff for that either. Like nothing. So
I did like though, like if you actually watch her progressions of the movie when she says I want to be like Diana,
Yeah.
obviously the first thing is because you see the powers. Her hair grows longer,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? She's a lot more, she straightens up, she looks taller. So there is like a physical transformation
just
that
wears
happens.
tighter
It's very
clothes.
subtle.
Yeah.
Right?
She can walk in heels now.
Yeah.
Good power.
I just yeah, like it was just it was the whole like 80s trope of like this girl's not beautiful because she's not dressed the right way. It was just like, oh, just
Yeah.
take off the
She's
glasses.
not pretty
beautiful.
because
I'm
she's
like,
got these big glasses. Yeah, take off the glasses and you're pretty hot. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, it's the same thing. It's just like Superman. You put on the glasses. We don't know it's Clark Kent. So I guess you could throw the trope there too. But
yeah.
man, I was like, oh, this is I just sat there going, this is the theme of the movie. It's like the price you have to pay for these wishes. It's like to be better, to dream of more. And Pedro Pascal's a villain, but he's not a villain. He's just like a Trumpian, like very allegory of Donald Trump. Like I'm this guy that built something from nothing, who was like spouting lies and like everyone followed.
But that's
him
not
in
really
the-
true though.
Like this is very like on the nose of like that, but then he humanizes him. I'm like, then you're humanizing Donald Trump too. Is like he's just a person who's just trying to do his best for his kid. It's like, don't do that. Just make him just a bad person. Like, why do you got to humanize this allegory of the current president?
And you know what's it's actually kind of funny though that they took that interpretation of Maxwell Lord, because that was like really the first iteration of him and not the most interesting one. Why didn't they go with the telepathy Maxwell Lord?
Yeah.
Which the identity crisis, you know, one
It's
like
too hard to explain, Andre. They needed magic wishes.
You know
yeah,
what?
but
They
that's
should
even
have gone
worse.
with
That's what I'm saying. That's even
Yeah.
worse. Like they just said, hey, let's get this wish mechanic and we won't even explain it at all.
Yeah.
And again, like he was sick before he started doing that quest
Yeah.
for the wishes. Why wasn't one of his wishes is, well, somebody wish for me to be healthy. Hey, son,
He
don't you
wasn't
want your
sick.
father to be healthy?
I don't think he was sick beforehand.
No,
He was. He said, give me my vitamins and supplements or
Well, no,
whatever.
but that was a very 80s thing. Everybody was always on vitamins and wanting to look good. That's why he said to somebody, "Oh, there's a special cream I can give you to help with those."
So why was he getting sick? Why was he getting worse?
it's the Dreamstone. It was taking
The
away his
Dreamstone was
health and stuff.
it was killing him
Yeah.
because
But how did he know that? Like, if he knew that, why would he? Like, do you know what? Anyways, see that.
Stop looking for logic, Andre.
Yeah, true. Forget that. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up shortly, I'm gonna ask one last question and then we're gonna go to close it up. John, what was the best moment in Wonder Woman 1984?
Oh, yo, I can't go first for this.
Yes, you can.
The bus scene. Say the bus scene. That was the worst and the best, John.
She's the same scene.
Can you give this example of the bus scene again and be like, but moment, this is this
Can
Like,
you leave out the bus penis? That'd
like
be great.
there's so many there's so many problems with that scene. I did like the idea that she has to sacrifice the thing that she wants, like she's the kind of like final kiss to Steve Trevor, and then she just kind of like walks away and then instantly gets her powers back, whereas it took a while for him to show up in the first place from the wish. But I did kind of like that scene.
Okay. Good. That's great. That's fantastic. Thank you. Rob?
Like just the scene. This is really tough because what is the best scene in this movie? As much as I'm gonna go with the fight at the White House. I think, like, first of all, her costume was striking. It looked great. The color, the palettes were amazing. The movie, that scene is very bright. Like, there is one thing about this movie, it is very bright. It is definitely not,
Except when Cheetah shows up.
Yes, at nighttime. But I mean, what I'm saying though is that it pops, right? But I would probably say if I had to pick one scene, it would be the fight scene at the White House between her and Cheetah. Diana's trying to rescue the Secret Service agents from being mauled by Barbara, because she's not really Cheetah at that point, right? So,
Andre?
You know, to be honest with you, I think John touched on it earlier. Like, I think she looked really good as Diana Prince. And there was a couple moments where you get that. I would have liked to have seen more of her as Diana Prince, being more helpful.
Yeah.
So I will say the scene I did like was right at the beginning, where she goes and she says, "Oh, I had to see these artifacts," and her and Kristen Wiig are doing the thing, and she's like, "Oh, well, maybe we can go for that late dinner." And then they go to that dinner. But again, we had seen that scene before, but that scene where the two of them are talking and she says, "I was in love a long time ago."
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yeah, boom, done. Like, give me,
Yeah.
if you're going to give me a superhero movie about Wonder Woman and you want me to connect, give me that humanity. Give me that. I don't need to see her training when she's 12. You know what I mean? I want to see her, not adapting to this loss, but what has made her the person she is now, right? And stuff. So I did really like that scene. And again, when she finally sees that it's Steve, like I did like that, and stuff. So there's moments, but it's from her acting with the other actors. So like Rob said, it's the parts with Steve Trevor, which is Chris Pine, those feel really good. Then you put her with Kristen Wiig, those feel really good, but other than that, everything else where it was action or maybe green screen or whatever, it just didn't feel.
Chris Pine is by far the best thing in this movie by a country mile. He is the awe and wonder, the moment, like all the little things. Andre, to your point, the reveal of him talking to Diana and the panning around in a circle to show that, it was really cool. I thought that just him, even though it was already done better in Wonder Woman, just regular one, when she saw all the stuff for the first time, when he was in the Smithsonian, like, oh my goodness, like the joy that he's like, these are ships that fly. And he's just like him, just like freaking out of the future was awesome. But it was done better in Wonder Woman already. Because when she was like, oh, this is the ice cream. Like when she went, you should be very
I liked it the
proud of
first
this.
time when it was called Wonder Woman 1.
Yeah, like that. What, like, you should be proud of, like, just that moment of Gal Gadot. I'm like, wow, she's amazing. Like, just enjoying, like, because her stiffness and rigidness of an actress works well in A Fish Out of Water. But she's supposed to be confident, and the acting in it just didn't seem right.
But you know what else seems like
doing it? It was really great.
What seems like a little bit of a loss or a missed opportunity for me in this movie is that they have really good chemistry. Now we've seen it in the 2 movies and stuff like that. I would have hoped that whatever way they brought him back, they could have maybe made it either quasi-permanent or a gift from the gods.
They got to make her sacrifice.
But I know
that's
for
two
this,
sacrifices.
But I'm just saying, if the movie wasn't about that, like, to me, you almost need to have that character for the next movie. You know what I mean? Now,
but here's
there might not be, but I guess
Andre,
you're right,
like,
because it's 2020, he would be dead again.
So
but either way, they have great chemistry, and I would have liked it.
Oh, you know what? Forget it.
You know what?
Let's just go. You know what? Let's just go. Okay.
It's okay.
Let me just finish off quickly and ask you a question. Because so John, if you had a teacher of history, would you want Wolverine or Wonder Woman to teach your class? Because clearly both of them are professors of the time and age. Could you pick one or the other? Because we've seen it in comics and in Professor X is like, shouldn't you be teaching history? Like, and clearly Gal Gadot also teaches history at the Smithsonian. If you had to pick a teacher to walk you through time, let's just say she.
What exactly was her job?
She looks at stuff. Yeah.
I'll give Wonder Woman another shot.
Rob?
Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'll take Kristen. I got nothing. Yeah, I'll take Gal
Kristen
Gadot.
Wiig instead.
I'll take Gal Gadot. Yeah, you know what? I mean, at least I feel like she knows a lot about everything else except for the department she's supposed to be working in. So that works out well.
Andre, Wolverine or Wonder Woman?
You know, if it's a high school teacher, you're gonna pick the girl, right? So right. Yeah. So I'll go for History 101 with Wonder Woman, thank you, and Greek and Roman times or whatever.
Yep. Okay. All right. So as we finish up,
This
do you
movie's so
recommend
bad that John's poster is falling down. It's giving up. It's like, I'm
no,
outta
it's
here.
perfect. It's a perfect,
Right.
perfect,
It's giving up the
perfect
ghost.
way to end this podcast as the movie is also being torn down as we have right now. If you can see from our podcast, we would not
Maybe
recommend
on the
watching this
rewatch.
movie.
Maybe we were
We would not
expecting
say
too
spend
much.
your time. I would say if you're cooking and doing laundry in the background, have this movie in, but don't watch it. Don't give your don't give your time up to watch this movie. That's pretty much, I think, it's what everyone's opinion is. But
Yeah.
let's
I don't know.
finish up. John, Andre, where can they find you guys on the
Quick,
internet?
what about Hans Zimmer though? Did anyone like the
That's-
soundtrack? Just
No,
quickly?
it was bad. It was bad.
Poor
I
guy.
actually-
He retired.
I
He retired, right? He retired, and they brought him back for Dark Phoenix, and then this movie. Poor guy.
I missed, that was the one thing, as I actually kind of really missed his theme. It didn't show up until the very end of the movie. Her theme doesn't show up to the end of this movie.
Yeah.
There is no man's land in this movie. Everything that made the first movie amazing, Steve Trevor aside, did not make a reappearance.
Yeah.
That theme is iconic to her as a character, and you don't have it until the very end of the movie. Anyways, sorry, Stu.
Okay, let's just John, Andre, where they can find you guys.
I just feel bad for the guy. Anyways, yeah. So if we're currently locked down as of the taping of this podcast, so we are posting everything we can, our curbside hours, everything on our social media. So if you don't follow us on the Facebook and Instagram, Heroes World Online, as well as the website, we try to also put the updates there, and then you can listen to us and follow us on the YouTube Heroes World Online, for the audio Heroes World podcast on Apple and Spotify. Link will be in the bottom. Give us a sub and a review if you can.
Andre?
Yeah, what John said, we're locked down, so I'm not even at the store anymore, so I can't plug that.
Curbside available, so go sales at Heroes World.
Yeah, shoot us the message. We're getting our messages from all over the place: the Google, the Facebook, the Instagram, whatever's easier, or whatever your form of method is. We'll get it and we'll set you up.
Yeah, just as a reminder, we're in really difficult times. Although the holiday's over, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't support your local store, small business. Please go out there, support your local businesses, not big box stores, because they're going to be fine with or without you. The Costco's, the Walmarts, the Amazons. Please, if you can, go to the small stores, help them out. They need your help the most right now. Wherever you are right now, just help them out. It doesn't have to be a comic book store, but any small store in general. Do what you can. Anything's appreciated.
Yeah, and a lot of you are doing this, sharing, liking, commenting, starting groups to support local businesses and stuff like that. Like, that's awesome. Like it really means a lot.
Most welcome. And if you, again, thank you for sharing and posting and liking. Please continue doing so in your networks. We appreciate it, and it just gets exposure more for John and Andre in the store. So thank you so much. And put your comments below Wonder Woman. I'm sure there are people that love this movie, and we want to hear that energy.
If you like it,
we want to hear it.
Awesome for you,
Yeah,
man.
I
really wanted to like this.
I think that's the thing. We all wanted to love this movie. We all wanted it to be amazing. We're all better off when DC and Marvel make great movies, when everyone makes great movies. It's just a shame that it didn't necessarily work out in our opinions, but we also could be wrong because everyone has different tastes. So, we want you to share your opinion, and don't just because it doesn't agree with us, post it anyways, because I think that any type of feedback is good. And from your perspective, wherever it may be, maybe it did speak to you, and we're happy to hear about that. Rob, where can they find you?
You can find me on the Instagram and Twitter at Rob Gadot. You can also listen to John and I do the Heroes World Sidekick podcast live every Monday. If you are listening to this and it is Wednesday, the 30th of December, we're almost through 2020. Go back and listen to our last show. John and I crowned the worst comic book movie of all time. Had this movie been released a few months ago, maybe this would have been included.
It still would have not been the worst one. No,
it would have been in the bracket though.
Honorable mention. Honorable mention. Yes.
So go back, take a listen to that on again, as John said, on the YouTube or on whatever you listen to your podcast. So thanks a lot to everybody for supporting us in that venture and through this, and thanks to you guys. It's been a fun 2020 hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, by the time you hear this, it'll be the new year. So let's let's
I
continue.
think we're
to
still
hope.
all in shock of this. The disappointment.
Let's hope that 2021 gets better, because at least we got 3 Marvel movies to look forward to momentarily. It's coming out, so
WandaVision.
We got WandaVision. We got Suicide Squad, the new one by James Gunn. We got Black Widow. We got Shang-Chi, who is also written by one of the writers of this movie. So we have that to look forward to.
It's just not Jeff Johns, don't worry.
It's not Jeff Johns. Yeah, it's not Jeff Johns. It's Dave Carnahan. So
Right.
Callahan. So he is he's involved. He wrote he wrote that movie. So let's see what happens. Maybe the good Kevin Feige will right the ship. So we'll see what happens. And then we got Eternals. So we got movies. We got Angelina Jolie to look forward to. So I know John's super excited. So this is where we're gonna go.
We shall be entertained.
2021 is gonna be a great year. It's got to be better than this one. So let's keep our positive. Let's keep on going, and have a great one, guys. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Stay safe. See you guys.
Bye.